Alrighty, so last session we picked it up. It was right around midnight, just after. So wee hours of the morning of the 2nd of Uktar. After the fight with the purveyor. So there's some discussion about exactly what to do. Smokey wants to know what on earth the purveyor was. And eventually the guards are buried and the group heads over the hills down into Dark Orchard via the graveyard. Eska runs over to the safe house, lets him know that the mission was successful, and they head through West Meanderings down to the docks in Dark Orchard. There is a lot of discussion on the docks about who's going and how and so on. Ultimately, the decision is made. It's about 1:30 in the morning. Decision is made for Lavinia to be transported to Delzimer, for which a price of 250 gold pieces is required. And there's more haggling and back and forth. But eventually, that is agreed upon. Lavinia confirms that before she goes, she gives some details on the potentate, the Day of Deliverance, and two people that she was investigating, the Lady of the Lodge, Rosemary, and an unnamed wizard who was often seen traveling with Duarte, and also is always accompanied by a stone golem. Lavinia writes a letter using some sort of magic to explain to the Calm that the Hand of Aegis has saved them and to be of assistance. And the letter changes to, in front of everyone's eyes, to be about the returning of a cow in exchange for 3 sheep. Just as the ship heads out of port, Smokey leaps back onto the dock and rejoins the group for now. So you see the ship head off into the night, and the group decides that they will not sleep on the floor in the Cup and Rat, and instead heads to Water and Cup in West Meanderings. Bador and Severius have a room, Cosette and Claire have a room. Smokey's got a room to himself, and Eska is up in a tree. Bador does see Eska go up in the tree, so is relatively sure that she's safe. And we pick up at around about 9 a.m. on the morning of the 2nd. And Eska, I will say, you so it would have been probably realistically around sort of 2ish by the time you would have got to your tree and could have begun your track. So at 6, when you come out of that state, you are bitterly cold.
Could I potentially use my have a feature that I think I used before to help me out?
That's right. Yes. Yeah, you're not going to take any there'll be no sort of negative effects for this. But just know that it has got very cold overnight.
I will
it was already
that.
like around freezing. And it's got colder. So right now, probably like, maybe in the teens Fahrenheit. Like, it's cold. It's gray overhead. No snow, no sleet or hail, thank goodness. And even more mercifully, there's not really much wind. So, yeah, go ahead.
She'll probably actually then try get down the tree and wander around to warm up before before others? Because others have probably still got quite a long time to go, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
should just wander around the, maybe take a wander around the meanderings and such.
yeah. Okay, yeah, you can absolutely do that. So you see the in West Meanderings, there's um, a few sort of guards. They're not really guards, but they're kind of guards. They're sort of like the local militia, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, so you do see them around, and possibly importantly, they also see you. You do not see any Drake's Warden. None coming in from the hills, none coming up from Dark Orchard. You see the Bridge of Tears, and you kind of take a moment to sort of appreciate the faces again, the fiends and the celestials. And there's a couple of places that, like, a couple of shops that open up. Um, I'm trying to find the name of. Oh, hold on the other thing. Too many locations for all of my items. Greylocks. The haberdasher. Um, this run by an old male goblin. You see that kind of open up around about 6:30. It's quite early to be opening up shop, but
What
yeah.
what sort of things do they sell? From a glance in the window.
There's a bit of everything. Um, I believe Bardot went in there and got some pipeweed. That was kind of really his only focus, but just sort of peering in the window, which is a little sort of like frosted over. You can see a mixture of items. There's a bit of clothing, bit of there's no sort of weapons or anything like that, but household items. Yeah, all sorts really.
Okay, I'll bear it in mind. But I'll aim to be back in the inn by the sort of time I'd imagine they were. Maybe just before they would likely emerge from knowing their patterns and get food ordered to the table already.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think
So
that was ordered as part of the fee, right?
yeah, yeah. So you probably head in like maybe 8:30 ish. I know it's vague because there's no real timekeeping, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the fire is roaring as usual. You see Elstat, the barkeep, pottering away behind the bar. Appears to be talking to a rather frazzled black-haired cat who's leapt up onto the bar and is just idly rubbing up against him. So yeah, you can hit find the probably table closest to the fire. Would not go amiss on a day like today.
Yeah.
Not a lot of competition this early still. You did see some people have gone in and already left from there. So probably came in, grabbed a swift drink of something strong, and then headed back out
Mm-hmm.
to start their day with a little warmth in their belly. But yeah, so set up by the fire and wait for them to come down.
Yeah.
So yeah, Severus Eska. No, Severus Smoky. You guys wake up. feeling probably not great, to be honest. Tired and worn. Tired and worn. But not mechanically exhausted. Just tired.
Oh, you know what? As a little caveat, while I'm out and while I'm near the stream, I will use my spell again. Use my not my spell, but my inbound ability to shield myself against the cold. And where it's sort of where the stream is a little further from the, a little outside where the bridge is, I will head down to the stream, and I'm actually going to take a dip.
Okay.
Probably fully clothed, and attempt to wash as much of the sewage out as I can. I believe I did get a little prestidigitated, but just
Yeah.
as much cleansing as I can do. I assume, adventurers might carry a dry bar of soap around with them as well, so I might do some scrubbing on it. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get some of the sewage smell, because I really went all in on the sewage.
Right. To become to get in character.
The old man, yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, deduct your sorcery point for that. I think that's what it takes, right? To gain resistance against.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because I think that's how we did it. Like you essentially sort of use them and then regain them.
Yeah.
Overnight, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one would get lost or used, not really lost. Okay, so you are chilly, damp, but you don't stink.
I mean, that's a plus.
Yeah. All the more reason to sit close to the fire, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, eventually, one by one, the group kind of slowly comes downstairs. Anything you guys upstairs want to do before you come down?
I'm preparing my spells for the day.
What do you have a ritual to sort of get ready for the day?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I know that Rogar meditates.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't I don't think I made a ritual for Smokey.
Well, no time like the present. How would you imagine it would go?
I would imagine he would like to stand in the open air if he could. Like, I'd imagine that, like, while he's on a ship, he would kind of, like, stand up on deck and kind of, like, close his eyes, feel the wind through his fur, and then just kind of, like, try to feel a connection with the ocean. But given that he's in town, he might well settle for opening a window and seeing if he can get if any kind of air from the water, if he can kind of sniff it and try to make that connection.
I would say in the meanderings, you're probably close enough to where, depending on the direction of the wind, there's going to be a little bit of salt in the air. You're not like right at the coast, but you're close enough that you can kind of feel it still. So yeah, it's not a strong breeze by any means, but you can get enough of a taste that it reminds you of what it's like to be back on the deck. Just got to be a little bit more. Just got to want to really believe it a little bit harder on a day like today.
Right.
Cool. Blair and Cassette come down looking tired and grumpy, quite frankly. Claire perks up a little bit at the thought of food and then remembers what sort of food. And very half-heartedly tries to throw a little prestidigitation on there to liven it up. And Bardor comes down and does what Bardor does, and in this case that means getting a pint and smoking a pipe.
Breakfast.
And yeah, so you've gathered around the table next to the crackling fire. What's the plan?
Well, what do we do now? Do we know what time festivities are set to begin?
I don't believe so.
If it helps, that's tomorrow.
Oh, that's
But
right.
I think it's
Thinking,
but I
yeah.
think it's tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. It's been such a time. I'm losing track of what day it is.
I did wonder if we should try and catch back up with our two friends.
I've
Perhaps
not
share.
spoken with them in quite some time. They may have more information.
Yes, and I dare say we have a little that may be of interest to them too. Not saying that we have to share what we did, but we can let them know that we were investigated the sewers ourselves. What we came up against, compare notes. I'm sure they will want a little tit for tat.
And of course, we should probably revisit our new acquaintances.
Yes, that's true. We have done what they asked of us. I guess now is the time to see what what fruit it bears for us.
What do you think would be best to do first?
My feeling is maybe check by the Cup and Rat, was it that we met them at? See if they happen to be there again, because there's a chance that they may go out for the day adventuring, so maybe catching them at the tail end of breakfast. And if they're
And
not
they
there,
are somewhat known there, so we could establish a time of departure had they have left previously.
indeed. Shall we away?
This sounds good to me.
It's cold outside. Just be warned.
That
Reminds
does
me of home.
not sound good.
Is Smokey a thick furred appearance or kind of a thin fur?
Probably more of a thin fur.
Because you can be thick fur, just not like the color. No, I'm not saying one way or the other.
Yeah. I've always envisioned him as being more of a tropical kind of kitty.
To that point, Smokey, as you're sort of eating, you look over at the bar and you see this fat, scraggly, black-furred cat that's just is kind of loafed up there now on the bar, and then curled up near the fire. There's another short-haired, sort of gray-furred cat, and as you stand up to start heading out, the gray-furred cat just kind of looks up at you, and there's just this moment as feline eyes lock, and the little cat is just like, what the heck is going on here? Like, you can tell that the cat is like really confused about this whole cat person thing, and it kind of arches its back and puffs up its tail and starts creeping backwards away from you.
Does he maintain eye contact?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just kind of smile at him and do a slow blink.
She rather, kind of actually seems to soften slightly at that. The big one on the bar looks at you and then just closes her eyes again. Drifts back off very quickly.
I just got snubbed.
All right, so head out to the Cup and Rat in Dark Orchard. Again, you see people are not really out in the streets today. The cold is not good for socializing out there, so mostly you see people sort of hurrying between where they were and where they're going. But yeah, you're able to get to Up and Rat, no issue.
Is it overcast today?
Yes, overcast. And right now, yeah, like I said, it's sort of still high teens Fahrenheit. So it's very cold, mercifully gentle wind. So it's not real. You're not feeling it in the same way as you could. You know, I mean, a strong wind when it's 30 is much worse than no wind at 10. So, yeah, you're not feeling it that much, but especially for those more acclimatized to that cold weather, like Silvarius, nothing, no bother at all. But for those like Claire and Cassette who aren't really from colder climate, it's a little brutal. You see them kind of bundling up and wrapping their cloaks around them.
I would say for flavor, you'd probably notice that Esker actually isn't wrapped up that warm, and you actually notice little particles of frost on her fingers. But she doesn't seem bothered by it.
Alrighty, so you get to the Cup and Rat. And inside you see a slightly drearier version of what you just left, basically. Except with no door at the back that leads up to rooms. The friendly barkeep is back there. Jerry. And yeah, you do not see at present any sign of Colas or Teta.
I guess Eska will wander up to the barkeep and say, those two adventurers that we passed the evening here with a few days ago, our friends, have they been in last night at all?
I mean, Big and Little.
That's the ones?
Nah. They were no, they went up and come back. I left this though. And he has a little note that he hands over.
Well, thank you. Thank you for caretaking that. Cassette, I feel like we need to slip him something.
Cassette quickly pops a gold on the bar. Damn.
Well, that seems that conversation over. I guess wander over to the corner and open it?
Alright. Yeah, I mean, it's just, like, folded. Just a folded piece of paper. And inside, it just says, figured best just to leave this in case. Trying going right today. We'll check back tonight or tomorrow to catch up.
It seems like they are deeply embroiled, perhaps. So perhaps we can try this evening.
Bardor kind of pops up and says, the barkeep said they left that yesterday. And then they didn't come back. Or at least he hadn't seen them since.
Yes. Are you worried, Bardor?
Only because I went right. And I was lucky to get out. Well, no, but I don't know if they can make themselves invisible like I was. And if they can't, that could have been very dangerous. That's where there was a very large guard presence on the right.
Should we try and get up with them?
Don't we have... Can't Claire contact them? Or at least reach out?
Claire, do you have that? Do you have that ability today?
I can try. One moment. Let me Let me see if I can get that over there.
I don't want to do another rescue mission into the sewers. I really hope they made it out.
What should I say?
I suppose. Are you okay? Did you make it out of the sewers? When can you meet? Anything else?
Perhaps where they are.
Yes.
Okay. So Claire casts sending and reaches out to Colas. Just says, are you guys okay? Where are you? Did you make it out of the sewers all right? This is Claire. Something remembering that could be useful information. And there's a pause, and then Claire hears back. Not good. Got caught. Stuck somewhere. There was a squiddy thing down here. Mind flare. That's the end of the message. So she quickly makes you all aware.
So Varys clenches his fist and
He is everywhere.
He does seem to be able to move around very quickly.
I am not typically concerned with my opponents, but he is one not to be underestimated. I'm still concerned about our meeting last night.
I'm both concerned and at a loss to what we can really do. I'm not to say that we should not try, but he seems able to come and go as he pleases, and the one thing that was encouraging was that we seemed to surprise him with our response. The downside is that perhaps he ups his guard for next time.
He understands how, well, a greater degree of where we stand as well.
Yes.
I'm more concerned that the city is his playground. We are on unfamiliar footing. He is a resident here. I think it best that we establish connections and make our own footing as swiftly as possible. Our new friends may be a fast track, or at least a more expedited one in that regard.
And what of Phyllis and Teta?
hate to say it, they put themselves in this position. I am not certain we should risk ourselves just yet.
It's
I am not
Unless
so
I-
sure you hated saying that.
What?
I am torn because to some degree we befriended them, and there is a trust there, not to mention that they actually know our situation vis-a-vis our being in the same position as them in terms of what we know of the island. Who knows what they may be forced to tell as well. So there is much there that concerns me, even on top of the fact that I feel bad that they are captured.
Well, so then we are to conduct a daring rescue?
I don't know that that is easy either, because we have no idea where they are, and by the sounds of it, neither do they. So it is hard to rescue someone that you do not know their location. It feels, if it were one of our own, we would be trying to find a way.
And that is because our own have earned our trust. We do not know them. They do not know us.
But you do have something in common. And that is that you seem to think that this place did not exist, or at least it did not exist for you.
While that is true, that is a thread of commonality.
For the minute, I don't know what else we can do without putting ourselves in grave danger, so I feel like at least keeping an ear out, perhaps even asking the calm if they know what happens with prisoners, I wouldn't think would be a bad thing, but yes, I agree, I can't think that there's too much we can do immediately.
And clearly an encounter. If they encountered the purveyor, to what extent? Was it another alliance? Or just he himself?
Is there a chance that the purveyor is going after the commonality between us is the reason that we have both encountered the purveyor?
He seems quite interested in knowledge. Now, we know very little of what Koras and Teta knew. But I am not even certain what he would want with us. If it is more how we arrived here, or who we know. They came from the Feywild.
The one thing we do know, the only thing that we have in common with them, the only two things we have in common with them, is we did not know about the island, and the purveyor is interested in both of us. Could be coincidence, but it is curious.
Hypothetically, in the event we even tried to find them, what do we have in our skill set to do such? My skill set is more combat oriented. The others of the Order, they had specialists for tracking and truth-telling.
I mean, I am not bad at infiltrating, but it is a heavy risk, because if you do it and you are caught, you are alone. And we know that magic is risky here, so using my abilities in that sense in those circumstances would be risky. So whilst I feel that I could do it, it would be a high risk, so I'm not sure I'm ready to try that yet. Maybe a little more information before then, if we were even to consider it. I'm not saying we should do it, but I'm not saying we shouldn't do it either. I agree that as of right now, I feel that we would be running in blind into a worse situation than we were in last night.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I am not willing to willfully sacrifice the innocent. But there is a threshold of risk to reward.
Claire pipes up and just says, I know we just met them, but they're our friends. So, I agree that we shouldn't just throw ourselves in there, but we have to do what we can to try and save them.
What do you think, Cassette?
Don't think I don't know what you're doing.
You better believe I'm
What
asking
say
Bandera in a
Bardo?
minute.
Cassette just, Cassette weighs it up. That says, we can't help anyone if we get caught. But I do agree that we should try to help them. Our door chimes in. And just says, I agree with Silvarius mostly. Yeah, I like how that sounds. But we don't owe them, we don't owe them a rescue. We need to take care of ourselves first. I'm not saying if we encounter them in a cage, we don't try and break them out. But I'm also saying maybe we don't go looking for the cage right away. That's... We have to balance the very real threat to ourselves.
Should we go talk to the calm first? I feel like they owe us information. Maybe
It's a better place to start.
yes, a little more context and such may help us out.
We may have garnered some trust from them after recent endeavors.
I can try reaching out to Colas and Teta again later, says Claire. I don't want to just bombard them with questions and, you know, I want to wait until we get the most out of it, you know?
Aye, and given intervals in between communication, we might, or they might, see more, have more clues or information.
I don't know if there's a way to block that kind of communication. I know they, thick metal can stop some types of divination and some communication, but that went through just fine that when I messaged him before. So hopefully they don't figure out a way of stopping us from communicating, because maybe this is actually to our advantage. If the purveyor doesn't know that we know them, and I don't know if we know that they know we know, then if they don't know that, if the purveyor doesn't know that there's that connection, they won't necessarily seek to block off communication if there is a way. And then we have someone on the inside. Someone who can show us and tell us things. I don't want bad things to happen to them, but maybe this is actually... It could be good. Not necessarily for them, but it could be good for us.
We just don't want to be playing dragon checkers while the purveyor is playing dragon's chess. What if they are being left alive for bait or some other luring method?
I will say that the purveyor seems to be able to get to us when he wants, with or without bait. So, I mean, whilst I don't say that that's not true, I don't even know if he needs it.
Probably best to assume it's a trap, though. Says Bardor.
That, and he has only encountered us in isolated environments. So maybe there is something to that. Be it underneath in the caves or out in the wilderness. But for now, we should go check with the calm.
He didn't say the calm, he says,
With our friends.
as a retcon.
The calm, you mean?
No. I am calm.
Where are you heading?
Not the calm.
Graveyard, I guess.
Was it a graveyard?
No,
I thought
didn't
it was
we
a hut
didn't,
in the middle of the woods.
well, there was a hut
It's
The hut in the middle of the
graveyard.
graveyard on the outskirts of the wood.
Yes.
But is that
Woods is strong. It was just more like a little stand of trees.
where did we meet? Didn't we meet the fellow in one of these inns?
This very inn is where you met Marius.
He's not sitting at another table waiting for us to acknowledge him, is he?
Just waving in the corner like, hey guys.
I won't make you roll. No, you don't see him.
That'd be too easy. Well, then the hut's the only other place I know of. And they were there. Somebody was there last night.
I'm
Right.
wondering, who was that knocking on the door?
You also did go with Marius to the underground armory. That was here in Dark Orchard.
Oh, we could try that. Did it seem like it was just a stockpile of weapons, or did it seem like it had other offshoot rooms or something?
That one you would say probably mostly was just a stockpile.
Okay.
Whereas
That's where they outfitted us, right?
Sorry, yes, yeah. The safe house in the graveyard was more of a meeting place.
I say we go pay our respects then. That's where Esker's going to
Alrighty.
start walking to.
So Varius in tow.
Smokey follows.
So does everyone else. Alrighty. So yep, you head all the way back through the streets, back into West Meandering. Back to the gap between the two houses where the graveyard is, and the little hut next to the stand of trees at the back of the graveyard.
I'll just give a little knock at the door.
Who's there?
It is us. The Hand of Ages.
Hold on. And you hear a little scraping noise. And then a little slot opens in the door. And you see these eyes peering through, a mask peering through the hole. And they're slightly bloodshot eyes that glare at you. Alright. Okay.
Hello.
Hold on. Yeah, hi. And then thing quickly shuts. And you hear a little scraping noise again. And then you hear the sound of well, if you had to guess, you would say it's probably a large wooden beam being lifted and moved out of place. And then placed on the ground, and the door finally swings open. Come in quick. Hurry. Ah, Jesus, a lot of you. Alright. Wait there. And there, so you are now in a rather tiny space. It is, it's only like, gosh, what are we looking at here? I think it's only like sort of a 10-foot by 10-foot shed, basically, if memory serves. And So you are all there, and yeah, it's a little cramped, little cramped. And he says, "What do you want? Why are you here?"
We have fulfilled our mission and come to further discuss our role.
All right, but no one's here. Just me.
Well, what can you tell us?
Let me hold on. Let me get someone else here. And wait, you said mission was done, right? Last night?
Yes.
He did say that, right? Okay. All right. That's good, because that's what I told him. And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a small stone.
I think
and
we have a
stalks
piece
into
of
this.
paper to prove it if you need.
That's not for me. He pulls out the stone and speaks into it. Just says, "The outsiders are back. They need to talk. Come pay your respects." Puts it back in his pocket. All right, hold on. Let's it's a bit cramped. Just watch out, and you all kind of have to squeeze to the sides. And he kind of shifts some stuff around, and then opens the trapdoor that leads down into the meeting room, where it is a fair amount more spacious. How do I do this again? There we go. So you're back in the meeting room. There's a bunch of chairs around, but currently nobody's in them. So if you want to take a seat, he says, "Should be here soon. Don't know how long. I gotta go back up to the door unless
Thank
you
you.
need something right now." You're welcome.
What is your name? Oh, you're not allowed to tell us.
I just don't want to.
Okay.
You know, self-preservation and all.
Yes, you wouldn't want us to give it up under torture.
Right. And you see, as he turns away, his beard kind of sways slightly afterwards. Yeah, so this is the same dwarf that you saw previously. The mask, I mean, it does hide his face, but he still has very distinctive tattoos visible, a really long gray beard. If you saw him on the street, you're confident you recognize him. So you have like 15 minutes of waiting. Is there anything you want to say in the meantime?
I don't think I have anything.
Yeah, I don't.
Smokey, how do you feel about your role in this whole situation?
What part? All of it? Or this
Well,
part?
you've found yourself in quite a intriguing spot. Are you coping okay with everything that has happened? the last couple of days?
Well, it's quite the mystery. I am a bit confused and a bit befuddled. But you know, I'm still trying to work it out.
Well, it sounds like you are pretty much in the same place as us then. That's good.
Yes. In some ways, it's a bit weird that you don't know what this place is. So maybe from another perspective, we're in the same place.
Yes. As for us, it's a bit weird that you do know what this place is.
Yeah. See.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with C.
Is this just you waiting until they arrive?
Yeah. It's 15 minutes. We got to pass the time somehow.
So eventually, once you've guessed chair and brazier, no brazier, well, this thing's called sconce, wall sconce, and stairs, about 5 times each. You hear a knock faintly from upstairs, and some muted conversation, and then the sound of a wooden bar being lifted and moved, and the door opens. And the trapdoor was closed behind you, is now opened again. And you see, coming down the stairs, the tall, dark purple-skinned tiefling with mask on and bright red eyes peering through, coming down. And she says, I am glad to see you back. I believe you have some information for me. Oh, I just realized I didn't pop back up. Well, he's going back upstairs. And she's right here. There we go. Yes, so she says, I believe you have some information for me.
Information?
Proof?
Oh, yes. The cow has been switched for the sheep.
What?
Who's got the piece of paper?
Cassette. Cassette has it. I'm pretty sure.
It sounds right. Cassette says, oh, right. Here. And hands the note over. And it's sort of like a realization as she reads what on earth you were going on about. And you just see, difficult to see, but you do see a little relief in these red glowing eyes. And a little tension leaves the shoulders. And she says, this is very good news indeed. Thank you for your help.
What now?
Well, for her, we will see that she is taken care of safely on the other side. And hopefully we can find a way to have her still contribute in some way. I don't know how right now, but we'll figure something out. As for us here, the work continues.
And what of us?
Well, you have earned our respect and our thanks. I know we were able to help equip you, Marius, so to that. That is good.
Have
We,
you
Oh, go ahead.
have you heard of the purveyor?
There's a pause. And she, says, we have heard the whispers of one by that name. We tried to send people to investigate. They did not return. We ran out of volunteers. What do you know of this purveyor?
Well, we know they are a mind flayer who is seeking some kind of knowledge, and has we ran into them on the mainland, and then last night they attempted to intercept us again. As we brought Lavinia back, we were able to push them away, and he disappeared. But it was alarming for us to find him over here. We, at least in my mind, I thought perhaps he was his base was underground on the mainland, but he seems more wide-ranging than I'd hoped.
When you said mind flayer, there is a visible reaction. She clearly knows what that is. This is very troubling. We did not realize. I assume I don't know, some mage or other with delusions of grandeur giving themselves some sort of pretentious name. And it is more concerning for sure.
I don't know if this will make you more concerned, but when he attacked, he was accompanied by a group of Drake Wardens.
That actually does not surprise me. I suspected that the little that we knew of the purveyor, we suspected that they were maybe a lieutenant, perhaps higher. Someone involved in the corrupt hierarchy here. So, I am not too surprised to see them, or to hear of them involved with the Drake's Warden. Marius was formerly a Drake's Warden, and he had not ever met the purveyor or seen them, but had heard whispers before. he retired.
Oh,
There
his
was
name, the Purveyor. It has been around here for quite some time, then?
in whispers. This is not the people on the street do not know the purveyor. But Marius is one who had heard. Because his name had come up in conversations in the guards. There were some who it was said that some were assigned to him to go work with him, for him. But we weren't even sure that he was real. As I said, anytime we tried to find a meaningful trace, the people did not come back.
And the ones that you had sent, were they of your own? Or were they hired, like us?
Initially, they were ours. Citizens of this island who wanted to see a better future out from under this corrupt leadership. So we did. We had also hired a couple of mercenaries who had come over from one of the ships looking for work. We found them in one of the inns, recruited them.
Was not the
No,
Cup and Rat, was it?
No, not this time. We found them. They came through the main docks. In Drakesburg itself. Met someone at one of the inns there. On reflection, they were not an astute person to align ourselves with. They were reckless and braggadocious. It is inevitable that they were caught by someone or something. Caught or killed for being too foolhardy.
Hmm. Also, we made some friends here. And it appears they may have been captured. It sounds like they did similar to us in entering the sewers last night, but took the other route and have been taken I don't know if you would, but we would like to attempt to get them out as we got Lavinia out, but we have really no clue where they might take such prisoners and such things.
I am not certain, but if it were me, I would be probably taking them under the castle, or in the castle. That seems an easily defensible place. No. I'm not suggesting you go and assault the castle, of course. But perhaps there are other ways. The castle itself is, well, guarded by dozens of Drakeswarden.
Here's
And
a question.
multiple weaveworms.
Is there a chance that they will move out during the Day of Deliverance festivities? Perhaps be dispersed a little more or a bit more distracted.
I would imagine that, yes, they will be well spread throughout the city. Probably on higher alert. I know that there are ships coming from across the Sword Coast, down the rivers from the Moon Sea. There will be people coming from all Faerun to see to join in the festivities. Ships have been arriving over the past week. More will continue to come today. The guards will be spread thin, I would imagine, and you're right. Yes, I don't see how they could keep the regular amount of guards in the regular spots. They will surely have to be patrolling more and have a significantly larger presence around the Great Green, where a lot of the festivities will be happening, the tournaments and so on. Yeah. That's I had not considered that. Now I am considering it.
Yes, and it suggests with all the people in town, more confusion, more people from different places. Maybe perhaps a touch easier to not be noticed in a crowd, like we would be at a regular time.
Right. Yes, now you mention it. Tomorrow is a very good day for trying to do things without being noticed. I assume that the guards will also be, in theory, on high alert.
Yes.
But they will surely be dispersed. And that creates opportunity.
I suppose if you have a chance to confer with your fellow members, if there's anything that any of them know about layouts, where dungeons might be, anything of that nature, if possible, that could be of great help to us. If you get a chance within the next day. We're not for sure going to do something, but if it feels like it is possible, we would very much like to get them out, because they feel like they are in a similar place as us in terms of how they feel about the current state of things.
Yes, no, I will think on it. I'll ask Marius for more information. They should have some idea of where some of the people are kept. And there are others in our group who may have some information. I'm trying to think who could be useful. Okay. Yes, I will talk. Why don't I have you meet Marius again in the Cup and Rat this evening?
That sounds good to me. Do we have more? Do we have further questions?
Hmm.
Trying to figure out how I'm wanting to say it. Sorry.
Taking a step back towards Lavinia, we went through a great deal of effort and danger, and at the end of it, expense, to deliver her back to the mainland. Was there some sort of compensation in order?
She kind of locks you with a stare and says, "Yes, I think perhaps that should be arranged. Tell me, what would be most of use to you?" We have some things at our disposal. I mean, you saw our armory, I believe. And then she kind of eyes you up and says, "Never mind, I know. I recognize some of that armor. Furthermore, we have other things available to us, but you tell me what would aid you most in your endeavors, and I will see if I can provide it for you and send it with Marius later."
Money and weapons are of minimal use in the grand scheme of things. I am curious what other things you speak of. And of course, one of the most highly coveted treasures, information, and an established connection.
Well, as far as an established connection, that is challenging because of the nature of our group. However, perhaps I could give you this. And she pulls a small stone similar to the one that you saw the dwarf holding earlier. And hands it over to you, Sylvaris, and says, "It is only good once per day. So think wisely when you wish to use it. But if you speak into it, you can reach out to our group and make some sort of arrangement, and we can reply to you."
That is very much appreciated.
And he kind of like slightly extends it out while he nods his head in a bow of a slight bow of thanks.
As for information, what else do you need to know right now? If I cannot answer, I can at least pull on the resources of our group and send answers later.
And of course, you know about, to a varying degree, of the purveyor. He is a concern of ours in many, many ways. Any additional information on him, I would prioritize. Secondly, key figures of the council.
Anarchy Council.
The caucus. We may have a need to know more about them.
Very well. Information on the purveyor, the caucus, whatever we have. I will gather what information I can, and again send that with Marius. As for other things, we have a number of adept arcane users in our group, myself included. And we have slowly acquired a number of useful items that could be beneficial. So, I mean, you seem to be fairly well armed, but perhaps there is something more that could be of use. Maybe something that is more of a limited usage. A scroll, a wand, something like that. Would that be useful? And if so, what sort of thing would be most beneficial to you? I understand I cannot give you everything that we have at our disposal, but what I can spare, I will.
Perhaps a scroll. Find a person. Should we need to locate someone?
Let me think for a moment if we have anything that would fit that need. Just quickly looking. That might be something we can do, but understand if the people you're looking for are behind if they're behind some sort of there are there are ways to block certain types of divination. It's not to say we can't try it. We will absolutely. I will see if we have something of that nature. It's tricky.
I am not trying to bleed your reserves, but some of us might be trying to find others.
Very well. I will. I need some time to work on this. It's already close to lunchtime. I have a lot of work to do to get this information together and over to Marius and over to meet with you for dinner. But I will do what I can. In the meantime, if you have a way to reach out to your friends who were taken, see what information they can give you about the environment they are in. Did they leave the sewers if that's where they were captured? That could help us with the information we can gather about possible holding places. Perhaps together we can find the most likely location. The type of spell that you were talking about has a very... You have to be close for it to work. Not right on top of them, but you have to be close. So we need to... It needs to not be wasted. This is an expensive piece of magic. So we want to make sure that we are using it at the opportune moment. So yes, see what you can do. And Maris will meet you later.
Anything else?
As he looks to the others.
Eska shakes her head.
What say you, Cosette?
That is going to roll a check real quick. What's that feels fine. No, I'm good for now. Thank you for your help. Very well. If there's nothing else, please wait a little while before leaving. We don't want to draw unnecessary attention to this place. I'm sure you understand.
Yes.
And she walks up the stairs and bangs on the trapdoor, which opens. again, you hear a little bit of conversation and the sound of the bar being lifted. And then you see a beard first and then a face kind of peer down. And just say, all right, so give it another 10-15 minutes. I'll let you out. And you can go do whatever the hell it was you're going to do. For preference, don't come back here unless you're requested to from now on. Just because, again, trying to keep it hush-hush. Understand?
Yes, we'll go and tend to a grave on our way out.
That'll be good. That'll help. Alright, just keep yourselves busy for a little while. I'll open the door up again in a bit.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with D.
Is it dwarf? Was it door?
It was door.
Really wanted that first time. So yeah, you do have 10-15 minutes in what you think is probably a fairly well soundproof room. If you do want to discuss anything, you can.
What do we do now? Do we do anything?
Given a bit more time, we attempt communication with Gorla and Teta once more.
Is it worth taking a little wander in the city?
As long as there is no risk involved. That was what was on my mind next.
It may be a good way to gauge if we could keep an eye out for if there is any reaction to us or if it seems fairly clean. Might be good to gauge that today in case we decide to do something more daring tomorrow.
The only ones that might know us are further on the other end of the town, are they not?
Yes, and I don't know how much they would really know.
I'm trying to remember for when Bardor
He
disguised
was
self. Was he still himself? I know he had changed, like he had used it to create his
Didn't he do his outfit, or did he?
I can't remember if he changed all of him. Let me see.
I think he did change a few features, perhaps.
We'll just have to shave his head and his beard, and no one will ever know. He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, I think he'd be fine with that.
Claire says, so should I be reaching out then? And just see if we can get more information about exactly where they are?
Roughly how long has it been since we did our first communication? Couple hours.
Yeah, at this point it probably has been a couple hours.
Okay, so and we got up real late in the day. It was like 2 p.m. when we got up.
Right. No, it was earlier than that.
It was like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah, 9 a.m. So
Okay,
right now it's probably right around lunchtime now.
Okay. I guess so far, so just tell him, like,
If you have no other use for your energies today,
It just seems like it could be important. And I don't know what we're going to do later, but this is just, it's information that could be really valuable to us.
Any pertinent details that they can tell us, the more the better.
Okay. So she's going to send a message and say, what can you tell us about where you are? Have they moved you? Are you still in the sewers? The more detail you can give, the better chance we can find you at some point. Can I please have, let's see. Savaris, can you please roll a d20 for me?
2.
Okay. There's a pause, and then she hears back. We've been moved. Tedda says we went through a portal. Blindfolds. Not blindfolded now. No idea where we are. Portal under the castle. I very quickly relays that back to everybody.
I'm not an expert on portals, but don't they go anywhere?
That's a good question.
Let's have Spoken Savarius make me Arcana checks, please. That's good. You make one as well. Why not?
Maybe I've heard something.
10.
Let's see.
Gotta love rolling low in your primary skills.
Natural 20.
Booyah!
3.
Wow, that's quite the variety. So you sort of ponder that out loud, Eska, and then you think, and you think back to a very different period of your life, back when you were with your family and hunting, and you remember meeting someone on the road who, like Teta, was able to detect and traverse through portal. And it's such a suppressed memory for a variety of reasons. But now that you're suddenly sort of questioning it, you're like, wait. And what is made clear to you, where you're sort of spending time with this person as they sort of travel with your family for a little bit, is that these portals, there's different types. Some can be temporary, that create a brief doorway between one plane and another. Some are fixed spaces that are always there and are always traversable. Some, it's a fixed place, but the doorway is only open under specific conditions. This is often true of routes to the Feywild, for instance, where lunar phases and alignment of stars can determine whether a portal will be open or not. But based on what Tedda said, he thought that these were created, which means they are likely always open and go to a very intentional location. Probably a fixed, they're however many there are. If they are created, they were probably a very direct path from point A to point B.
But that point could be theoretically even a different plane.
Yes, definitely. In fact, that's more likely than not.
So here's the thing. The portal may go anywhere, but it is likely a fixed place, which means in my mind at least, if we want to find them, we would have to go through the portal. Most likely. Otherwise, how would we know if they don't know where they are? And especially if they are on another plane, that may be the only way we could get there. To me, it sounds like Teta got his wish, but not in the way he wanted. He was very curious about these portals.
Hmm.
The danger is
Yeah, I'm curious, but not that curious.
I mean...
You were speaking, Eska?
Yes, the danger is that we have no idea what that it might go to. There are many dangerous planes of existence. And, I mean, many nice ones too, but what are the chances?
I'm certain we are not dealing with those. Also troubling is finding which one that might lead to them. There could be any number in Drakesburg. I know you wish to save them. I am still of the mindset it might be overextending.
It does mean going back into the tunnels, doesn't it?
Well,
maybe.
Perhaps, but the tunnels were heavily guarded and it seems like they are worried about incursions from there. Perhaps sometimes the most difficult seeming route actually can be the one that is least well guarded, because they would not expect somebody to be so brazen as to try it. So perhaps going in through the castle, walking in through the gate, is an easier and safer route than through the tunnels, because who would expect somebody to just walk in?
My initial response is, do you hear what you are saying? One does not simply walk into Mordor, as the old children's books said.
He holds his hand
And-
up in like a ring shape.
And yet, I read that book, and I believe they actually did just walk into Mordor.
Cassette nods in agreement. That is what happened. A little bit of a circuitous route, but that is essentially what they did.
Wait, what, really?
Yes, you should finish reading the books.
They really did. There were some distractions involved. Bless you.
Yes, you may have to cause such a militaristic distraction to one side that the rest of us can just walk in, because their eyes will be focused upon you. So if you can cause the entire army of Drake's Wardens to come to you, that will make our task a lot easier.
Not that I am not up to that challenge. However, would be much easier with the armies of the Order. Sadly, not an option.
Yes. But still, I mean, there is the the other saying from that book: the closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm.
I knew that one was going to come up.
That just sounds dumb.
I don't know. I don't think that makes sense.
But the main thrust of my argument is the sewers were not a... I mean, we made it in and out, sure, but just by the skin of our teeth. They are heavily guarded. And honestly, I don't want to go back into that smell.
Burrow pipes up and says, if they have to take guards away from the... well, for the festivities, where are they most likely to leave a protection? The castle or the sewers?
I would think the castle most likely. Lest there is something of the sewers that we don't know, but typically that which they store the most important individuals.
I mean, I would agree, but it seems like the under castle was where they were really concerned about.
So I'm thinking too. Actually makes me think Eska's idea might be right. Limited presence at the castle. Because they're out in the city. We'd have to figure out a foolproof, or as close to foolproof way as possible, of getting through the gates without raising suspicion, which is challenging. But maybe the calm can help.
Perhaps a little sightseeing today of the castle? Get some idea of what we're looking at as well. Could help us get more of a feel of how it is run.
I can agree to observing things, but I won't hesitate to still express my trepidation on this entire plan.
Let me ask you this, if I may, because I also I don't know that any of us feel great about this. What do we do if we're not doing that?
Well, continuing on our paths that we know. My counter question is, why do you desire to save them? Genuinely. Just because they are of another plane?
No, not because of that at all, actually. It is because they share our confusion at the island. They have a curiosity to find out what is going on. They seem, despite being captured, they seem to have some skills at at doing such things. To me, they are potentially valuable allies. The fact the purveyor has an interest in them perhaps is proof enough of itself that they are of value to us.
Sylvaris's eyes narrow.
I have lost great things from miscalculations. And I am not willing or desiring to do that again.
I understand that on some level, but I do truly believe that without some risk, we will not get to the bottom of what is going on, and we are so in the dark about who and what is pulling the strings here that I feel we are having to make some moves that run the risk of being miscalculations. But, you know, taking on Smokey could have been a miscalculation, but Smokey has proved a valuable asset and friend in the short time he has been with us. We're just, at least to me, we are taking shots at what feels right and hoping. I cannot argue that this is the right thing to do. I can only say that it feels like the right thing to do.
Fine. We can entertain it.
For the moment, that is
But
all
for
I
now,
ask.
we're just looking for now this afternoon, right?
Yes. Though I will admit, we've said that a number of times and then gone on to do the thing, but as far as I'm concerned, at the moment, that is all we're doing. Just a little reconnaissance to see how things are run, how it feels, and then a regrouping this evening to find out what information the Calm has, and then perhaps we make more of a decision based off of that. Whatever the whole group decides. I will probably not go against that if they decide not to, and I will probably not just go in by myself.
Sort of general murmurs of agreement. So it sounds like there is a general consensus to leave and head up into the city, get a better idea of what... Basically, gauge what you can about the castle, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And try and come up with some sort of plan from there. And then make it back to the Cup and Rat to talk to Marius around dinner time.
As we leave the hut, Esker is gonna pick a few bits of vines from around and druidcraft them to flower, and then rest them on one of the graves. Try and look somber before we head out.
Are we staggering leaving? Are we all kind of leaving as one group?
I mean, we went in as one group, so I suppose it would arguably weird if we came out staggered, but I don't know. It's gonna look
I
a
think
bit
the
weird.
fact that
Whatever.
6 of us came into this little hut.
Yeah, I've just been in there for like an hour.
We all just
Hopefully-
rush. We just like sprint out.
Hopefully people get the wrong idea about what we were doing in there.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, well, we will end the session there, I think.
Oh boy. Next episode, a little bit of espionage.
Yeah. Also, should have said this at the end of the last one, but you can now consider yourself level 7.
Wait, what?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that would have completely changed how I did things this episode.
Would it though? Would it?
Probably not. I don't know what level 7 is, but...
It's 4th level spells.
Uh-oh.
I get my second attack.
Hey.
It's about time you became useful.
That way
That's a
I can at
big-
least maybe hit after I miss my swing.
Yeah.
'Cause,
1
man,
out
I
of 2
feel
ain't bad.